On October 15, a drone attacked a Russian oil refinery in the city of Ufa, more than 1,000 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. According to Ukrinform, this was reported by the ASTRA Telegram channel. The drone likely attacked an industrial zone in Ufa, where the Bashnafta-UNPZ oil refinery is located. Residents report seeing smoke in the area of Birsky Tract, a road that runs through the industrial zone. Problems with mobile internet service have also been reported. It is noted that an air raid alert had previously been issued in Bashkortostan. The carpet plan was implemented at the Ufa Airport. Subsequently, temporary restrictions were cancelled at the Ufa Airport. Authorities in the Republic of Bashkortostan had earlier issued an air raid alert, implementing security measures at Ufa Airport. The restrictions were later lifted. On October 11, drones linked to Ukraine's security service reportedly struck another Bashneft refinery in Ufa, about 1,400 kilometers from Ukraine. The strike targeted the Bashnafta-UNPZ plant in Ufa, a city that is one of Russia's largest centers for the refining industry, supplying fuel and lubricants to the Russian armed forces, according to the source. Preliminary reports suggest that after several explosions, a fire broke out in the area of the crude oil processing unit ELU AVT-6. A plume of black smoke was visible rising in the vicinity of the plant, and fire trucks were en route to the site. The extent of damage remains unclear. The attack against the facility, which lies approximately 1,400 kilometers from the front line in Ukraine, marks the third SBU drone strike against Bashkortostan in the past month. SBU long-range drones previously struck the Gazprom Neftekhim Salavat petrochemical plant in the same region in two separate attacks on September 18 and September 24. Another drone strike, carried out by Ukrainian military intelligence, hit the Bashneft Novoil refinery in Ufa on September 12. Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrsky said on October 11 that Russia's oil processing capacity has dropped by 21% amid Ukrainian attacks. Several Russian regions are facing gasoline shortages as Moscow ramps up fuel imports.
Беспилотник видел, нет? Похуй, летит. Беспилотник видел, нет? Похуй, летит.
While war rages in Ukraine and gas stations in Russia are experiencing shortages, Putin is calmly going about his business, such as selling his country lock and barrel to China, said Oleg Zdanov. The expert supported his opinion with facts gleaned from Russian sources. Trans-Baikal. By the way, the preamble here needs to be expanded. The fact is that Putin constantly. This isn't publicized in the Russian Federation, but in other parts of the internet. In other countries, you can find information about Putin constantly signing treaties with China. All these treaties are classified as top secret. They're not publicized. My understanding is that he's ceding territory, especially natural resources, and accordingly, China is pursuing economic expansion into these territories. We know about deforestation. We know about pumping fresh water out of Lake Baikal, millions of cubic meters per year. A military expert said, surprised by the news from behind the curb. Zdanov then expanded on the above with some interesting details. There's various information. but the Kremlin is officially keeping it all secret. So, Trans-Baikal is being destroyed to supply coal to China. The history of one valley is the genocide of its own people. This is what residents of villages in the Trans-Baikal territory, through which China is currently building a highway to transport coal from the Russian Federation to China, writes Russian citizens. I think the coal quarries have already been handed over to China because China is building a road, and China won't build a road to a Russian quarry. Most likely everything is already leased for 49 endless years. The residents of these villages are being sent to war in Ukraine. NSDC head Oleksiy Kovalenko says that negotiations between Beijing and Washington on possible strategic alignment could have catastrophic consequences for Russia and its so-called limitless partnership with China. Kovalenko noted that according to media reports, China has allegedly offered the US a $1 trillion investment package in exchange for lifting restrictions on Chinese companies and reducing tariffs. He believes this deal opens the door to strategic alignment between the two superpowers. For Russia, this is a catastrophic signal. The limitless partnership with China is losing weight. Moscow risks becoming a raw material appendage forever, ignored in key agreements. Beijing is diversifying supplies, reducing purchases of Russian energy resources, and shifting focus to new markets. The Kremlin is losing room for maneuver, even within BRICS, and global decisions on investments and security are being made without Russia's involvement, Kovalenko stated. Kovalenko also emphasizes that if the US and China reach a common stance on Russia's war against Ukraine, Putin will be reduced to a bystander. He says that while China negotiates with the US, Moscow pays the price for aggression, isolation, loss of markets, raw material appendage status, and strategic defeat. The NSDC head acknowledges that Russia can strike Ukrainian infrastructure, but it will be restored tomorrow with the help of Western partners. In contrast, Moscow faces retaliatory strikes, with no one assisting it infrastructurally or technologically. In the perspective of years, they might try to impose their will by unleashing a global war in Europe, but they will lose it. However, if the US and China agree on rapprochement, this won't happen, and Russia will lose its development prospects for the next 100 years, Kovalenko concluded.